What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Wow! Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you will receive a notification every time that I drop a video, and you can go and check the video out. Let's get into it. Once again, this story takes us to the Los Angeles County Jail. Talk about the Los Angeles County Jail a lot because, bear in mind, I was down there for nearly 5 years just on this last beef, fighting my case. I had 2 separate trials. Then I had a retrial hearing, etc. I was postponing it and pulling all kinds of stunts throughout my case, trying to beat the case and avoid a life sentence. And the entire nearly 5 years that I was down there, for some change, on this past bid, well, again, the place was replete with violence on a daily basis. Much went on in there, much to talk about and much to get to, as it did when I was there in the past. Replete with violence. The county jail has always been very violent. And people used to say that if you can make it in a Los Angeles County Jail, you can make it anywhere. And it was especially brutal back in the 80s and even early 90s. But even now today, it is still a brutal place to do time. One has to be cautious and careful and prepared at all times. And well, here in 1998, 1999 was a young homie from Compton, Park Village or Carver Park, and he was a young, strong dude. I do not recall his name. Sort of tall, like 6 feet, light brown skin, had waves, and he was putting in work there. And his hood, I believe they beef real tough with the SouthSider gang, the CV70s. CV70. And a CV70 had come into the module. This was in 2800. Now, at this time, things were rather peaceful between us. We had riots prior. In fact, I told you about a couple of them that we had over the visiting area and such. That was at that time. But at this time, things were calm after having had riots where we had stabbed one another. Cooler heads had prevailed and things had finally calmed down some within the module and really within the county jail. In Wayside, it was still going up rapidly. But there in the county jail, in the modules, things had calmed some. And the dude from CV70 comes in and he immediately recognizes the young homie from Compton, Crip. Come to find out, they knew one another from the street and had fought one another in school and had even shot at one another before on the street. Because again, the rivalry between those two gangs is intense and bloody. And the rivalry has been going on for some time now, years upon years. And they have exchanged unalivings with one another. And so the hatred oftentimes is palpable and strong. Compound that with the fact that they personally know one another. And, well, this is a potentially volatile combination. As fate would have it, they put him in the same cell. The young homie from Compton had already been in the cell for however long, a few months or whatever, fighting his case there in the Los Angeles County Jail. And as I said, he was putting in work. He was squabbling. And he sort of made it clear, too, to be honest, that he did not like, certainly, the CV70s. He had a strong disdain for them because I'm sure that whatever beef that they had been having going on for so long, had at some point become personal to him, with them having unalived some of his closest comrades and vice versa. The CV70 that came in, well, he made it extremely clear from the beginning that he had animus towards all Compton Crips, and in particular, this one that he's in a cell with. When he gets inside of the cell, they recognize each other and don't say nothing to each other. The dude from Compton says the SouthSider begins to mean mug him immediately. And, well, he mean mugged him back. But he said that he wasn't thinking much about it. And that had it not been for the rules and the protocols that you cannot bring beef from outside into a jailhouse situation. You cannot bring beef that you have with someone from outside, as I've said before, into a prison situation. Whatever beef you had on the street, you must leave it out there as far as a personal beef. Now, a gang beef, yes, that still transfers into jail and to prison. Gangs beef with each other inside and outside. But if everyone is in the jailhouse trying to get along for whatever reason, and you have a personal beef with someone, even though you're hood's beef, but this beef is also personal, you must leave that on the street. Compton is adherent to this. And the SouthSider, after being in the cell a couple of days, they got into it. Inevitably, they began to argue. And the SouthSider told Compton, "You're lucky that I have to follow these rules and protocols, that I must leave a beef on the street. Because if not, bro, we'd get into it." And Compton like, "Well, we can get into it right now. It don't matter." You know what I'm saying? I also have to follow the rules and protocols, bro. But you threatening me? A SouthSider next door heard the exchange. He heard the conversation. He told the SouthSider to chill and that he was wrong. That yes, you must leave the beef on the street, but you're creating tension by saying this to him, that he's lucky that you have to adhere to these protocols, and had it not been for that, you would have been and gotten his ass by now. What man wants to accept such disrespect from someone that he knows personally? And again, the animus between them, the opposingness between them, the hatred between them, it's deep, because they have attempted to take one another's life on the street. They have shot at one another. Essentially, they grew up together, from what Compton was telling me. And they have been beefing since they was kids. So they do not like one another. They should not be in the cell together. And eventually, that's what was said. Hey man, split them up. Because one day, Compton is in the cell telling the other blacks. At this time, they were upstairs, and it's just a 4-man cell. And they had 4 people in the cell at this time. But the cells are real small. And it's 2 SouthSiders, and there's another black in there. Now, one of this dude from CV70 had went to court wherever he had went. And the young homie from Compton is in there saying, man, this dude keep putting his feet over the... Also, the dude from CV70 was sleeping on the top bunk from Compton. Compton's on the bottom bunk, and this dude's on the top bunk. Compton's on the bottom bunk. He was in the cell from the beginning. So not only are they in a cell together, they're sleeping on top of one another. I mean, eventually this is going to go bad. They despise one another. They should have been separated from the beginning, as far as I'm concerned. Neither one of them want to separate or be the one to move out of the cell. Compton's not going anywhere. He was in the cell from the beginning. He like, I ain't going nowhere. This is my cell. And the Mexican started saying, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't rolling it up. So they both just sitting in the cell in abject misery because they have to face one another every day. One day, when a dude from CV70 goes to court or what have you, Compton is in a cell saying that the dude keep putting his feet over the bunk, disrespecting him. Now, these cells are small, and you have to jump down off the bunk however you can. But he's saying that he has his feet hanging over the bunk while Compton is sitting up, let's say, on his bunk reading. His feet are just hanging right here in his face. And that he's doing this on purpose. And that he told him, man, keep your feet out of my face. And the SouthSider had told him, man, you know, I have to sit up on my bunk as well. So it is what it is, bro. With my feet just in your face, they're just in your face. I even heard this exchange. And I knew at that point that it was about to go bad. Because I knew what I would do. It's over, man. Fuck that shit. You ain't finna have your feet all in my face. Nobody. Any race. It's not happening. And I know it's because you're trying to antagonize me and aggravate me. Well, it worked. Because now I'm pissed and about to get in your ass. But Compton, he was more patient than me. And he's telling his cellies that if he does this again, he's going to have no choice but to act. He told the SouthSider, man, get a hold of your people, bro. You see what he's in here doing. You see it. Because the SouthSider even told him, bro, no, he's right. Keep your feet out of his face. So this is the second SouthSider that has told this dude that what he's doing and these exchanges that he's having with Compton is out of bounds and out of pocket. But he has this strong animus towards Compton Crips and this in particular Compton. So he's not necessarily listening to what the others are telling him. And he continues to antagonize and cause strife and acrimony inside of the cell. And one day, a few days later, well, apparently he did it again. Put his feet down there where Compton's head was at. Right there, smack in front of his nose. Bow! Ooh! Whoa! What the hell? We didn't have this discussion already. How dare you? How diabolical of you to put these damn things in my face yet again. Compton, having had enough, jumped off his bunk and told the SouthSider to jump down because he was on the top bunk. He couldn't really start swinging on him right there. And the SouthSider, not surprisingly, been waiting on this as well, and now feels like he can defend himself and say, you know, he got called out and he has to fight. He didn't start it or whatever. He jumped off the bunk and they began to squabble immediately. Bam, bam, bam. They're in there fighting hard. Everybody on the tier can hear it. But it doesn't go up in the whole module. Now, at this time, the SouthSiders were tough. You know, not a knock on them now. They're still a very formidable group. But, you know, their structure was real strong. And as was the blacks, a lot of stuff is watered down now. All these PCRs and all that shit wasn't around then. All these dropouts, dropping out by the bus loads. These days, that never happened back then. People were sticking it out for good or bad. So their structure was very strong. And they were very no nonsense. And the blacks that were there were very no nonsense as well. And after they squabbled, and Compton pretty much got the best of him in that squabble, he was pissed. He was mad when he told him to jump off the bunk. They finna get it in. SouthSider really didn't have a lot of wind with him, bro. Inside of that small cell, not enough room for him to do his dance. And Compton was just coming at him with a lot of aggression, according to the bystanders. And the SouthSider explained to his people that yes, now no one jumped in. It didn't go up in the module because everyone knew about the animus between these two, the disdain that they had for one another, the beef that their hoods had on the street, and that this was more personal, and that this was inevitable. It was bound to happen. And everybody wasn't about to get involved in their bullshit. Now, at this time, typically, when it goes up in one cell or with anyone from a different race, a one-on-one, or all that, there's no such thing as a one-on-one. When you start, it's finna go up. everywhere. It is going up. It did not go up. Everybody let them handle that personal animus that they had with one another. But now the SouthSiders, well, they're outraged because they had warned this dude not to put his feet in Compton's face anymore, not to antagonize him, but to follow the rules and the protocol and leave that beef on the street. They gave him credit. That's why they left him in his cell and said that he can police and manage himself, govern his own behavior. But he obviously could not, because the way that he began to comport himself in there, well, it was causing problems. And the SouthSider said, this dude has to go. You know? They wanted to get rid of him because of the fight with Compton, but I also think, so, you know, they were showing us respect by doing so. Because they said that he had started the fight, that he had started, Compton, again, was in there from the beginning, and he was not trying to push an issue. Yes, he did not like him. Yes, he had made that clear to others. But he said that he was going to get along in there because he understood that he could not bring that beef into the county jail, bro. But this dude is in there antagonizing him. He really is asking for the smoke. And he ended up getting it. But again, he was strategic and thought that he would get away with this fight because in his mind, he did not start it. Even though his people had told him to cease with the antagonizing of Compton. So his people, they didn't buy it. They said, no, you did start this. And you could have started a riot, and everything has been cool in here now. Everyone has been getting along, and this is the way we want it sometimes. And now here you come with this nonsense. It could have went up. People could have got hurt. You got to go. SouthSiders, they let the blacks know that they would take care of that. Everyone gave each other respect for not going up and letting them handle that. And the SouthSiders let it be known that they would follow up with the removal. We appreciate it. And the next day or so, they told Compton and the other cellies to find a way to get out of the cell and leave him by his lonesome. They made it out, and the SouthSiders made it in. And they attacked CV70, and it was bloody, and it was vicious. They did hit him. As I said, at this time, the SouthSiders, look here, they did not play when it came time for a removal that was warranted. And they attacked him viciously because they felt like he had disrespected them as well by not following their command. They poked on him 6, 7, 8 times and left up out the cell. And not long later, he left up out the cell, leaking. And at this time, they didn't have any cameras. And people were committing these sort of offenses and getting away with them all of the time in the Los Angeles County Jail. And that's exactly what happened in this case. No one went to jail inside of the jail for it. They took him down to medical, and no one saw or heard from him again. And that was it. Compton actually went back to his cell after they had cleaned up all of the blood. And they removed him for his indiscretions and for starting a potential riot and for transgressing against the rules and the protocols and leaving that beef on the street. It was an ugly situation. But I respected the SouthSiders for what they did. Had Compton been the one starting the beef and egging it on and asking for this fight, and we're telling him to leave that beef on the street, and he could have potentially started a riot by starting that fight in there, then he would have been removed. This is just what was going on in there. But it wasn't that way around. We knew that, and even the Southsiders knew that this guy was the one that had egged it on and kept pushing it. And again, they had taken umbrage because they personally had told him to cease, to stop aggravating this man inside of the cell. But some people have a mind of their own and have to learn the hard way. He was apparently one of them, and he did learn his lesson, I'm sure, because he left out leaking. I'll be back today, actually. I got something else in mind and in store today. Yeah, a little bit behind on my content, so I'm here to catch up. Thank everyone for y'all support. Go Up movement, stay free people movement. I appreciate y'all. Leave a comment. What y'all think about the SouthSider? Did he deserve to be removed in a bloody manner or not? Y'all tell me. In the meantime, stay free people.